everybody, what is going on? It's me, Captain Theeliteace. We are live action. You already know what it is. Here to bring you yet another Bleach anime episode review. And finally, Ichigo is back. He has returned, and I've been waiting for this episode ever since the anime has been announced. And so far, I gotta say, this is one of the best episodes since Bleach has returned, if not the best thus far. But we'll see how the rest of the season carries out. That's right, Elites, we have a breaking news update right here as follows. Next episode, there will be no new episode. That's right, there will only be a recap. A recap episode of the events thus far in Bleach. Some of you like recaps, some of you hate recaps. Me personally, I do not care for recap episodes. I want the juiciness of the Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc anime. However, also, Bleach episode 25 and 26 will air September 30th, and it will be similar to Curse Season 1 episodes 12 and 13. So, it will be an hour-long special? No. One episode will not be a full hour. We will get episodes 25 and 26, thus making it a full hour. Remember, that is on September 30th, 2023. Mark your calendars. Off-rip, hands down, fantastic episode to say the least. But I did notice the add-ons, the tweaks, the changes that actually fit a lot better with the overall story. This is one of the things I love when they do it right in the anime. It actually makes it a lot better than what happened in the manga, so we're going to get into this. So one of the things I noticed, the different things that was in order and add-ons with the Sternritters versus Kenpachi. I believe in the anime, of course, Candace, she struck Kenpachi first. But in the manga, she struck groups of Squad 11 just to be, attacked by Kenpachi. She evaded that, hit Kenpachi with lightning, and then Menendez punched him to the ground. That I noticed. Then, of course, we go into Latoto. She uses her weird glutton ability. And the funny thing, the first time I read that, I couldn't help but to think, like, these cannot be Quincy's. Like, when you look at the abilities of the Espada versus the Quincy's, it seemed like the Quincy's have more head-scratching, eyeball abilities versus the Espada. And let me be more correct, the sum of the Star Knights opposed to the Espada. When I was like, that's some weird Resident Evil type stuff. But yes, in the manga, when she ate a group of squad members of 11, she actually ate another group. She birthed and said they taste nasty, but of course in the anime, she just ate one group, and that was it. Of course, then we see Menendez, she picks up the big slab of ground and just bam, crushes the Soul Reapers. And yes, I did like the effects on that. The extra dirt and particles, everything. I have an eye for these type of effects in the anime. And yes, we go on to Giselle. Oh man, with this ability I felt was so broken. Because keep in mind, they're gonna introduce this later on in the anime, if they keep it in. See, with a Soul Reaper, as long as the blood touches them, instantly, she can, make them kill themselves and become a zombie. But with a Quincy, yes, her ability does work on a Quincy, but they have to be dead. So, of course, that's why Bombietta, she was begging for her life. I'm assuming she already knew what it was because, yes, they had to kill her in order for her to become a zombie. So, they didn't have to kill her, but for whatever reason, they just went ahead and did it. And I believe she is the leader of the Sternritters, so maybe they were tired of her, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so anyway, with Giselle, in the actual anime, it was more gorier. We actually seen the soldiers killing themselves, and of course in the manga, you didn't even see that. But hey, I did like that and such. Also, when they showed Giselle and Latoto and Menendez, yes, they was playing one of my favorite tracks, and that track is part of my workout playlist. I love that part, especially when the guitar hits, when the blood splatters out of Giselle. Yes, I love that part of the song. So, but we also got to see extra footage of, Kenpachi fighting the Sternritters, and then of course that's when you see he constantly gets hit by bolts of lightning. Now this is what I like, because remember, one of my reviews, I spoke on how, I'll never forget, I read the comment that made sense when the anime version of Full Hollow Ichigo taking on Uclear, they stretched that out, and I'll never forget when the comment said that it made it look like Uclear was hanging with Full Hollow Ichigo, so it kind of watered down, the epicness, or it just watered down how much more stronger he was than Uclear, because in the manga it happened like that. So in this case with Kenpachi, I like how they stretched this out, how it took multiple strikes of lightning, and of course he was still swinging out. I did like that because this is Kenpachi after all. Yes, of course, he just got done with the battle with Grimmy. I think what did a lot of the damage was when he got put in that pocket space. You know, I don't think him being in water and being crushed and everything really messed him up. It's still crazy to me how that eye patch stayed on after all of that, but whatever. So the fact that they flushed this out, I did like it because I also read a comment one time saying, oh, Kenpachi, man, he became weak. You know, he's getting bodied by these female Sternritters. And I'm like, man, he does not get it. He just got done with that battle. And yes, he still has his eye patch on. That's one of the things a lot of people overlook. If he was to remove that eye patch, it'd be a different story. But I also think this is a writer's tactic. When you have a very strong character, you have to write him out. And what I mean by that is have him get knocked out, KO'd, or just, you know, set to the side for whatever reason. Because just imagine if none of the soldiers, none of the Goated 13 took any losses. You know, you just got a fully healed, ready to go Kenpachi on top of a fully healed, ready to go Ichigo on top. You know, it's so he had to write it off like, okay, gotta put Kenpachi to the side, gotta put this character to the side, so that way it'll balance out. Because had Kenpachi, you know, not have been messed up and fatigued like that and damaged, oh man, those Sternritter females, they wouldn't have stood a chance at all. But to that point I just made, we also didn't get to see Omeda, Shinji, and Momo interacting with Basby. In the manga, of course, I believe Omeda, he had Soy Phone and his sister over his shoulder trying to get him to safety, and they were encountered by Basby, and they were stopped by Basby. And this is what I was saying, it seems like Kubo wrote off Shinji because, man, Ichigo returning, combined with Kenpachi, and Shinji's ability, come on now. That is, and then we see Rukia's back, you know, Renji's back, Byakuya. It's just been super overkill, but of course, he had to write it off. But maybe we will see this happen in the next episode when Basby takes down Momo and Shinji. Who knows? Because it's funny that we didn't see the interaction with Shinji and Momo and Omeda when Ichigo came through, because when Ichigo came through the sky, you only seen Pepe, Basby, Nana, Robert, of course Rukia, of course Byakuya, Renji, and the Femritters. It was their reactions. Him coming through, everyone all over should have seen that or sensed it, and I know they did, but of course we all know what happened. So let's talk about this Ichigo entrance. I gotta say, yes, I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased. Now, they did play a remix version of Number One. We all know how I feel about that song, but for some reason, this version, you know, it was perfect with the actual moment of Ichigo coming down through the sky. So I'll take it, you know. But also, what I do like, it didn't seem silly at all, you know, when he crashed, you know, through the tower and landed. I don't know why when I read it, it just seemed like it was one of those silly moments. But I noticed that tower, you didn't see the clock in the anime. In the manga, you actually seen the clock, you know, but whatever. So, man, entrance was perfect. I loved everything about it. So I remember the first time going into this fight, reading this, I already knew these Femritters, they weren't going to stand a chance at all. Of course, you see Ichigo, he just tosses Candace into a building. The other three try to attack him. He just knocks all three of them. He punches two of them, kicks the other one, they go flying. And it reminds me of when during the Soul Society arc, Ichigo was on Sokyoku Hill when he took out Omeda, Chojiro, and Asane. It reminded me of that moment just a little bit. And I noticed after he knocked them three into the buildings, you know, he did this. You know, he said, ow, maybe he hit them too hard. I'm not saying, you know, they're so tough and durable, he hurt his hand on that. I'm not saying that, but I just noticed they added that in for whatever reason. And of course, we see Candace. She goes to hit Ichigo with the arrow, and she mentioned how it's 5 gigajoules. And I looked it up, 2.55 gigajoules can kill a human instantly. And we see that did nothing to Ichigo at all. There was also a missing panel when we see Lil Toto. She's flying through the air, of course, with her bow and arrow, and we see the heads of all the different arrows, how they have their each individual style going at Ichigo, and of course, that does nothing. And the moment that this was a lot funnier in the anime, of course, when Candace gets tossed again, and bam, you see Giselle runs into her. Then you see Menendez. Then you see Lil Toto, but they're expressive. And one thing I like about these Sternritters, their personalities complement one another. It's just funny to me. Of course, you got Giselle. He seemed like he's just always in good spirits, doesn't care. Thinks everything is a joke. You got Menendez. She always has that, oh dear, oh my look on her face. Then you have Lil Toto. To me, the funniest one. She has just this stale, just dead look on her face, just like a flat expression all the time. I just love it. And of course, Candace, hot-headed, getting mad over stupid stuff, similar to Bombietta. We see when Bombietta, of course, she realized when she was talking to herself, she got mad, made that big explosion. Then you see Candace, of course, being very typical and superficial, getting mad that she's covered in dirt. Oh, it takes this long for her to do her hair. Just typical stupid stuff. Just a reason for her to just power up and attack Ichigo even harder. Now on to Candace versus Ichigo. I did notice when they clashed, they removed the moment when Ichigo spoke about the fact that it's a good thing he has 2 swords because she has 2 swords. And she reminded him, no, I actually have 6 swords. Then at that point, I think she throws her Galvano javelin, and that's when Ichigo, he does a mini nonchalant Getsuga Tensho. I mean, this guy, he just, you seen that, right? Yeah, he just Getsuga Tensho. And that was it. And it was enough to repel her attack. And that just goes to show how much stronger Ichigo has become. Because we all know all throughout the series, he would scream and charge up and holler to Getsuga Tensho, Getsuga Tensho, Getsuga Tensho. I think at some point in the future, he is going to fire Getsuga Tensho at Bach, and I don't think it's going to be just a nonchalant one, but yeah, it's going to be very, very devastating because it's not going to be the typical Getsuga Tensho that we're used to seeing. And man, that right there was this classic. Just for him to go ahead and elbow Candace, and she got sent flying. And yes, that was actually new footage that we did not get in the manga. And we continue to see even more new footage with Giselle, Menendez, and Lil Toto actually activate their holy forms. Oh man, these vibes, man, were like Sailor Moon, Powerpuff Girls type vibes. More so Sailor Moon. And the names, I believe. Giselle, I believe, translate to Death of God. And Lil Toto, I believe, Hunger of God. And Menendez, Power of God. Because even with Asna, I think it was Fear of God. And then, just like with all the other Star Knights, when they activate their holy forms, it's a something of God, based off the aspect of their power, the script that Bach has given them. So I did like that. So we see Menendez, she's taking on Ichigo. With me working out, I couldn't help but to notice these workout fitness theme based attacks. She has reishi dumbbells. I didn't see it all. We've seen reishi swords, reishi guns, reishi rockets, reishi everything, but she has reishi dumbbells. She's going toe-to-toe with Ichigo. Then she turned them into reishi batons. She's just hanging with Ichigo, and of course, here comes Lil Toto with her food utensil theme-based attacks. She goes spork. That takes out a big chunk of the building. Then she goes spife. Believe that's a like a spoon and a knife utensil combined. Ichigo blocks that. He goes to the ground. And here we are with Giselle. I was not expecting this at all. She has her off-brand Zakano Tachi South ability. These bones come out of her wings. And what is it? Dead Dancing Boys Club, wherever the hell it's called. And you see these cartoony, goofy-ass skeletons with these Gear 5 cartoon Tom and Jerry sound effects. It was a little off-putting, cheesy, but a little funny all at once. They go to rush Ichigo. He strikes him down. The bones immobilize him. She summons the hands or the skulls on her face, on his hands. He goes flying at Ichigo saying, "Munchy, munchy babies." And Lil Toto activates this giant, I forget the name, there's like a giant bear trap, mouth, jaw type of attack. And we see another fitness attack by Menendez. I forget the name of what she used, but I looked it up, and it's actually an old workout dumbbell type of thing, and she goes to attack him. Ichigo blocks the jaw from closing in on him. And this part right here, y'all know what I'm going to say. When Ichigo moves out the way, damn, when that closes in on Giselle's neck, immediately I had super mixed reactions. First, I'm like, oh shit, like damn. But at the same time, I'm like, wait, I know he's not dead because obviously, I already read the manga. But I'm like, the fact that Giselle survived that. Menendez runs to Giselle, the whole thing rolls. But I thought was funny, they all go flying towards Candace. And she just gradually just smacks him out the way. It was just a goofy ass moment, but it worked. It really did. But the fact that she didn't die from that, I don't know if it wasn't strong enough to decapitate her, or it was at an angle and just slit a big side of her throat. Either way, having your throat slit or crushed, you should be done. But we all know this is fiction, manga, and this is Bleach, so it takes a lot more than that to kill a lot of these characters. Now, I like the added detail footage, how they showed Candace, and she used the Quincy ability, to actually break down her Reishi particles and absorb them and become stronger. And you've seen the halo on her head, it actually gets bigger. But rewinding it back a little bit, I know to activate the holy form, it's under different conditions. Some can activate at a will. Sometimes it activates under conditions, depending on how they're feeling. Especially if they're surrounded by, if they're in areas of high density reishi. But the fact that Lototo, Menendez, and of course Giselle, they were able to just do that technique to start absorbing reishi, without activating their holy form. Because maybe I got it wrong last time I checked it, because we seen Kurjay, the jail, he did it, but he was in his holy form when he did it. He didn't do it when he wasn't in his holy form. But hey, maybe I'm missing something. Let me know down below. So anyway, with Candace, the way she absorbed that, I love the effects. I like that added detail. And of course, we see, yes, all the extra lightning bolts and reishi appear upon her. And I know a lot of guys, all this episode, they was loving the fan service. Candace with all the different angles, all her different lady lumps, the cheeks, the camel toe, everything. But when she did the electrocution to Ichigo, the epic moment, which I love so much, and they nailed it perfectly. They actually did it better. Ichigo with the Getsuga Jijisho. Now, the first time I seen that, I had mixed feelings. I was glad, yes, a new technique, but I was also like, it's just a variation of what we've been seeing for years. And of course, it's cool he made a cross with it. One of my boys, Cloud9, he always thought that was representation of him having Quincy powers because it was a cross, but I don't think that's the case at all. I like how it looked a lot better in the anime. It seemed like in the manga it was drawn a little bit crooked, but in the anime it was just perfect. The clouds, everything, the lighting, and even in the anime you seen the reactions of the rest of the Sternritters. That was not in the manga. But the fact that it only took off her arm, that's what killed me. Yeah, some would say, well, she did the electrocution attack and it was colliding with nah. Yeah, he did warn her, move you idiot. She didn't move, but I would have drawn this where it took off a leg and an arm, or both arms, something, but it just took off her arm. This is a new technique from Ichigo, the main character, fully powered. Come on now, maybe, if he was in Bunkai and did a Bunkai attack, then, maybe, yeah, it would have killed her. But the fact that it took off her arm, I always thought that was a little underwhelming. It should have did a lot more damage. But also, maybe, since she absorbed that extra reishi, that was more defense. I don't know, but I think she did it to increase her offense. We all know the blue vein increases the defense, but the blue artery increases the attack. And they can't use blue vein or blue artery simultaneously. So, who knows? Let me know down below. So, I did notice it looked a little bit different when Giselle, she used the flesh off the Soul Reaper, to give it to Candace. And man, just seeing that, I remember reading this like, who are these Quincy's, man? Like, especially with Royd and Lloyd. You got Giselle just turning motivators into zombies, can just take flesh off, return limbs. It's the craziest thing to me. Now, we also see they removed when Yhwach, he actually opened up the gate, to have access to the royal palace. Why did they remove that? I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. So yes, the upcoming moment with Ichigo versus the rest of the Star Knights. This was a moment I really really like. See, to me, I still feel to this day, Ichigo, he could have taken on all of these Star Knights at the same time. That's just my opinion. I mean, yeah, they all have their own unique abilities or whatnot, but nah, they don't have the speed, the strength, nothing to actually effectively kill Ichigo. Of course, Basby shoots down the Sternritters, and then of course we see Pepe, Nanana, and Robert. They all show up to kill Ichigo. Whoever kills Ichigo, they get the glory. And I believe chapters ago, when Candace reminded them, like, hey, if you take down Ichigo, His Majesty, he'll grant you any wish. And you actually see a panel of all three of them thinking of, oh man, the things he could, grant me. I forget what Menendez was dreaming about. Of course, little Toto was thinking about all types of food, and Giselle, it was just black. I don't know. Maybe Kubo didn't want to show what he was thinking about, but maybe it's just symbolic that it's just pure darkness, that what he wanted. Who knows? So, man, these Star Knights surrounding Ichigo, I honestly feel that even all of them combined, they wouldn't have been able to take down Ichigo. That's just me in my opinion. Now, I get it. No matter how strong you are, if you are surrounded or outnumbered, it could be a chance, that can lead to your demise. But in this case, nah. Yes, I'm well aware of all their abilities, but friendly fire is a thing in Bleach. And to me, they just don't have the speed, the strategy, the teamwork to effectively kill Ichigo. So, and then what if he'd have went Bunkai? They would have really been done. But I also noticed that in the anime, where Yuri gave the explanation as to, how the barrier is going to be open for 6,000 seconds. Ichigo went through, I think, 72,000 barriers. I could have got that 72,000 or 7,200. I'm probably getting that wrong. But in the actual manga, it was Bach explaining that. And I believe he said, I know you can hear me, or I know my voice is reaching you. And you seen Ichigo holding his ear. I wish they'd have kept that in, because it would have really, really just expanded on for the anime only watchers, to give them that feeling that, man, Bach and Ichigo, they have some type of connection. And we all know, for the manga readers, that what that connection is. Yes, he's the father of the Quincy's, we know that, and Ichigo has Quincy powers, etc., etc. So to me, that was more fitting. At the same time, it's not surprising that we see Squad 12 knowing this, because they're very smart and everything. And it's just crazy how, man, they also show Shunsui and Aizen. I did notice that. I thought that was cool. I don't know what, you can't see Aizen's face, but Aizen, he just has that. Aizen got that energy. He's just sitting there like, ain't this bottle bitch? Like, damn, he's geared to make it up there. And I feel they're doing it. Or, man, if I could only get out of here right now, that'd be my chance. That's the vibe I was getting. But I like how they show Ichibe just sitting there waiting. But see, that was their plan, which you're going to see anime only watchers in the future. It backfired. They knew what they were doing. Like, oh, we put this special armor on Ichigo, it can leave access open for a long time. And we know Bach, he had come up here. That'd be our way to stop him or replace him to be the next Soul King, just in case Ichigo can. It was all a crazy setup, and it was very reckless. That's why if you read the novels and everything, and me and Techie was talking about this, I was on his Bombcast, not too long ago, and it makes you look at Bleach and the Soul Reapers completely different, or just a little bit different than what you already look at it now. So Ichigo flies towards the light. We see the beam of light as Hashroth, Uryu, and Bakugura to take off to the Soul Palace. And I will never forget this moment when we see Menendez. She rams Ichigo's face into the wall. I like how, with the anime, she just rams him to the wall and stops him. And in the manga, she rams him into the wall and we see him get dragged and he goes flying real far. The fact that they removed that, I like that, because this is the full powered Ichigo, the main character. And it's like, nah, have it to where she just stopped him. Don't have it to where she got this motivator flying. But even though I noticed she did the diamond push, and man, I love diamond push-ups. I can knock the motivators off. But yes, another fitness themed attack. She did the diamond push, knocked Ichigo far, but it didn't do nothing. And for the anime only watchers who feel like, oh man, it seemed like they're really catching up to Ichigo, or they're landing hits on him and attacks on him. Keep in mind, and this is one of the things I have a problem with Ichigo. It seemed like he wasn't trying to kill a lot of them. Now, especially with the Sternritters, it's like he was just playing with them. I wish he would have went ahead and just killed them. This is war. They were trying to kill him. I believe in the manga, I believe he also said that, I thought it'd be hard fighting women, but I guess not. Correct me if I'm wrong. But man, that's the only thing about Ichigo. I believe the only human Ichigo has ever killed was Genjo. The only one. And man, if I was just Ichigo, I would kill these motivators. Not a Getsuga Jijaisho, that probably would have straight up killed her, if she hadn't thrown her the electrocution. But I don't know, man. It's like, damn. But it reminds me of when Shin was fighting Kira, of Gundam Seed Destiny. Yes, Kira basically won that battle. I mean, he actually swung in the sea, took off the head, arms, and the leg. And that's when Shin caught in, the silhouette, and he just, bam, got more pieces for his Impulse Gundam. But Kira, while also not a killer, he was trying to protect the Archangel from the Minerva, so his main focus was not on Shin. Similar to how Ichigo, his focus was getting to Bach, which of course, it made sense. I mean, I guess he's like, man, forget y'all, I'm going to take on Bach. So, that explains why he wasn't really bloodthirsty trying to take out the rest of the Star Knights. But also another thing that they removed was, ask not how he showed up behind Ichigo, tried to hit him with two hands, with the fist like that. Ichigo, he swirled around, bam, he just kept juking him. And then we see Robert, of course, bam, put the chrome right to the dome, and that reaction time, Ichigo just dodged it. But in the actual anime, I like how they added this touch. He has two Zanpakuto, right? So he went 1-2. The first time, he actually blocked it with his Reishi pistol. You see the sparks, they just clashed with it. And then he evaded the other strike. But that's crazy to me how he was able to deflect that. I would have it to where I would have wrote it to where he actually cut through that, cut his hand off. That's just me, But another thing I like that they added in the anime was the fact that they had their final holy forms activated, which made perfect sense. Because again, I said it in the beginning of this review, I like how they extended the fight with Kenpachi, how they had to hit him with multiple strikes of lightning, how he was up swinging at him because this is Kenpachi after all. And then we have Ichigo. Yeah, they're going to be doing all this to Ichigo, at least have him in their final holy form. Don't just have them in their regular form like they're in the manga. I know Basby, he had his activated, but even still, it made sense that they all had it, activated to actually catch up and hang with Ichigo. And of course, we see Basby, bam, he caught Ichigo, here to do the burner finger one. Now, what do you all think? Do you think that would have killed Ichigo? It looked like he was going to shoot it right through his dome. Do you think that would have killed Ichigo, just damaged him? I don't think it would have killed him. That's just me, personally. Now, this other moment they changed. When we see Renji, bam, he actually uses Apimaru, hits Basby's grip. In the manga, you can't tell it's Apimaru right away. In the anime, you can tell. And they removed the silly moment. You see Ichigo, oh, you almost nipped me or took a chunk of my neck off, or whatever the case may be. I did notice they removed that. And then we see it's, Hisagi, Yumachika, Ikaku, Rukia, Renji, Yakua. And they removed, maybe they'll show it next week, Ikaku, he goes to strike Basby. Basby moves out the way. He activates his range weapons like a crossbow and bow gun, and Rukia freezes the arm. We notice they removed that as well. And then that's when Little Toto says, let's take him out with our holy form. And then that's when they activate it. So as we come up to the end of the episode, Ichigo is shocked to see Uryu accompanied by Hashwolf and Yhwach get ready to go up to the Soul Palace, or Yhwach Baha, as they really said. And Ichigo, he's just dumbfounded and just in disbelief. And Uryu, he's undercover, so he has to make this believable. He fires an arrow at Ichigo, and of course he deflects it. Then he hits him with List Reagan, the classic technique that Uryu used, the barrage of arrows. I believe in translation is light of rain or rain of light. I could be getting it wrong. So in the actual Manga, those arrows did not land at Ichigo. Orihime just showed up and deflected them. Or he blocked them. But in the actual anime, of course, bam, he gets scraped on the face. You know, one hits him in the abdomen, and the rest of the barrage of arrows are gonna hit Ichigo. But we see Chad, he comes out of some kind of mode, bam, and blocks it with his arm. And then Orihime comes and blocks the rest of the arrows. I thought that was an added touch, but I already know, cause see in the manga, people were just flipping out about it in a good way, and I see the same thing with the anime adaptation. Orihime and those big melons in that new outfit. That's the one thing I've been seeing so many people talk about. I guess, you know, since they couldn't give us Ruki his cheeks, they gave us Orihime's melon. So, hey, take it or leave it. It is what it is. But yeah, that was about it for the episode, man. I was pleased. I enjoyed everything about this episode. Even the corny, cheesy, dancing, Dead Boys Club, whatever you want to call it. But I'm loving it so far, man. It's, man, what can I say? They added things, they took out things. The things they took out, I can do without because, again, there's always room to add it in the next episode. But the things that they extended on, it just made it made Ichigo and Kenpachi with that much more stronger because that's what they deserve. I mean, this is Kenpachi. Man, like if you just go back and read the manga, he got dropped real fast fighting those Sternritters. But see, one thing I do remember, that was a major correction on my part. Yes, of course, Kenpachi was considered a threat, a war threat. And man, if he just only took off that eye patch, man, after everything he learned, the shackles and everything, just take off the damn eye patch. I know you enjoy battle, but man, he was sitting there wondering, like, is this it? I mean, if you don't want to die, because if you die, you won't be able to enjoy battle. So just take off that eye patch and kill them and go on and find some other opponents that is worthy. Go take on Bach or something. But man, Kenpachi was looking extra rough in the anime, man. Just the angle he was in, all those lines on him. But yeah, so with that being said, let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode. Is it 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10? Give me your thoughts, comments, and concerns. Oh man. It's just as we episode after episode, I'm like, damn, we're getting closer and closer to the end of this season, the end of the curve. But yes, we have 2 more curves, so that's way more Bleach, ahead of time that we can look forward to. And I can honestly say, in a sense, I'm glad it's spread out, because just imagine if it'd probably been over by now. If there wasn't no gaps, I think we would have been done by now, or we'd have been coming up to the very end of the episode. So yeah, other than that, at least, thank you all for watching. It's me, Captain Vibes with Ace. I'll see you next week. Signing out.